Elite Facts presents
10 companies linked to the Nazi Party.
10.
Kodak. It has been well documented that Kodak's history with the Nazi regime is darker than an undeveloped photograph. Wilhelm Kepler was one of Hitler's main advisors. He's known by the U.S. intelligence agency as the Kodak Man for his business and personal relations with the firm. Kepler is noted to have worked somewhat as a double agent, providing information to Kodak and several other smaller U.S. companies. The Kepler link is bad enough, but during the war, Kodak's German branch used slave laborers from concentration camps, and they also branched out into the manufacturing markets of triggers, detonators, and other military equipment.
9.
General Electric. When the war ended in 1946, General Electric was heavily fined by the U.S. government because of its activities during the war and links to the Nazi Party. In partnership with Krupp, it is because of General Electric that the price of tungsten carbide had risen, as it was a sought-after material that was vital for machining metals necessary for the war effort. It has also been documented that General Electric had also bought shares in Siemens before the war broke out, making them complicit in the use of slave labor to build the very same gas chambers where many of the stricken laborers met their end.
8.
IBM. We've all had a product by IBM at some point. Whether it's a hard drive or a whole PC, it's fairly likely you've used one of their products. Well, it turns out that IBM and other computing firms were a vital part of the Nazis' successes during World War II. IBM created custom computers so that the Nazis could keep tabs on train line timetables and the number of Jews being shipped around, allowing for an accurate record of all those going to and from death camps such as Auschwitz and Treblinka. In a way, this makes them somewhat the bureaucrats of the Holocaust, and that is something you do not want to be linked to.
7.
Chase Bank. Although most banks during the war were very shady, none have done things as bad as this Swiss bank. Chase Bank was the worst of them all, as their Paris branch was doing deals with the Nazis with the full knowledge of the American head office before and after Pearl Harbor. It has been reported that over the years, Chase Bank has been accused of freezing accounts belonging to European Jewish users during the war, effectively reducing their ability to flee to an allied country and all but destroying their chance of survival.
6.
Hugo Boss. We all know Hugo Boss. Hell, it's advertised all over the place, showcasing its overpriced apparel that only the rich can buy and boast about. Even if you're too poor to afford Boss's goods, you can recognize Boss ads from a mile away. Well, now at least, if someone sporting their clothing comes up to you showing off, you can say you don't support companies that are related to the Nazi Party. That's right, Hugo Boss provided the SS with sleek all-black uniforms. These SS uniforms were used as a way of commanding respect and invoking fear in the populace.
5.
Siemens. Siemens AG is a well-known global conglomerate that makes everything from circuits to wind turbines. The company was created back in the 19th century when famed scientist Werner von Siemens got bored finding and inventing new things and instead decided to make money off of what was already discovered. Smart business tactic, right? Well, not when your company is forever related to the Nazification of Germany, in which Siemens was a major player. Instead of circuit building, however, they were given the task of building factories around Germany using slave labor.
4.
Volkswagen. One of the more recognizable companies linked to the Nazi Party, the man behind both Volkswagen and Porsche, Ferdinand Porsche, met with Adolf Hitler himself in 1934 to discuss the creation of a people's car, which translates to Volkswagen. Hitler told Porsche to make the car with a streamlined shape, like a beetle, and thus the Volkswagen Beetle was created. Not only was it designed by the Nazis, but it was named by Hitler himself.
3.
Nestle. When you think of Nestle, you probably think of the best treats you received during your childhood. Well, we're here to ruin that for you, as they were involved in a disturbing plan hatched by the Nazis. This first came to light in 2000 when Nestle donated a staggering $14 million to a Holocaust survivors fund. The reason for this is because back in the 1940s, the company used slaves from several concentration camps near the German border with Switzerland and used chocolate bars to lure young Jewish children into captivity before shipping them to the concentration camps.
2.
BMW. During World War II, BMW's factory workers were essentially made up of slave laborers who were forced into work by the Nazi Party. Some sources estimated that around 40,000 slaves were put to work. When owned by Günter Quandt, he and his son were good friends with Adolf Hitler himself and were considered a big part of his regime. BMW's factories exclusively produced aircraft and motorcycle parts for the Nazi war effort. In fact, many inmates were put to work on the Luftwaffe engines, namely the BMW 132.
1,
Coca-Cola. Long before Coke Zero, New Coke, and Coca-Cola Vanilla, they were supplying both the American troops and the Nazi soldiers with refreshing regular Coca-Cola. In 1941, when the Coca-Cola head office canceled the supply of the syrup needed to make Coke to their German counterparts, Coca-Cola decided to invent a completely new beverage in order to keep the German troops happy, and thus Fanta was born.
Don't forget to like us and subscribe for more Elite Facts.